This is the Tigers Postcast, your instant game reaction for the Detroit Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hey, look at that. Tarik Skubal pitches, and let me actually put the microphone on. There we go. How about that? Tarik Skubal actually pitches, and the Tigers come away with a shutout victory over the Chicago White Sox and even the series at a game apiece. Welcome into a live Locked On Tigers postcast. I am your host, Jake Riepma. You can follow me on Twitter at Jake_Riepma, and this is your post-game destination. All things Detroit Tigers right here on Locked On Tigers. It's the postcast. Make sure you like today's video. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel already if you haven't. And as I mentioned, a nice little Saturday night victory. Tarik Skubal cruises to the win. The offense does its job. And, oh, by the way, we had some news today as well with the statement from Alex Cobb. So we'll break all that down, buckle up, and dial it in. As always, your comments are very welcome. In fact, encouraged. So fire up that comment section and I'll have my turning point, talking point, and player of the game. It's all next on Live Locked On Tigers postcast. So we begin where we always begin. Busy night, by the way. And this is just a friendly reminder to join us for the Locked On Wolverines postcast immediately following the conclusion of Michigan, Oklahoma. You got your Locked On Tigers postcast. Tomorrow we'll have a Locked On Lions postcast because it's the opening day, or the opening Sunday day for the Detroit Lions in the NFL. Of course, we had a few games, a game Thursday and a game Friday. But lots happening here in the month of September, my favorite month of the year along with October. My favorite time of the year is probably a better way to put it, because it starts with awesome baseball, meaningful baseball in September. The Tigers are doing exactly that. They shake off the loss yesterday, disappointing day, but back into the win column this evening with a 6-0 victory. How did it all happen? Well, what better way to start the game than a Jahmai Jones home run, and then the offense strikes for 5 runs in the home half of the 4th inning. The big shot, a Gleyber Torres 3-run bomb, and oh yeah, Tarik Skubal goes 7 scoreless and was really, really good, as he often is, and continues to build that resume for the Cy Young. Back-to-back Cy Youngs. Let's talk about it.
This is what you'll be talking about.
It's kind of bizarre that the Tigers are in this place right now where they've been so good all season long. And by so good, I mean, obviously they've had their shortcomings. They've had their losing streaks. They've had all kinds of difficulties at times, but they've had a stranglehold on this division. You can say, oh yeah, it's a bad division. That may very well be true. And two things can also be true at the same time, which is kind of bizarre in this climate, I know. But I put cruise control on the thumbnail today because that's what today's game felt like. When you have the best pitcher in the game and the offense doing its job, this Tigers team feels like they can go and games, and not a bad thing by any means, but that's just for tonight. The rest of the pitching staff, I would say, are in shambles. The injury bug is rearing its ugly head at the worst time. And I, for one, do not really feel great about the direction of this team heading into the postseason. And there can sure be a lot of things done to change my mind. But every 5th day, we get that nice reminder that maybe everything is great. But we all know how the game of baseball works and how winning in the postseason works. You got to have multiple weapons, multiple bullets in the chamber. And this Tigers team just feels like they don't. And tonight's not the night to complain about that, because that takes away from Tarik Skubal and how good he's been. And I want to instead focus on how I believe Skubal should in fact be the Cy Young. And I know that that's obviously not shocking coming from me, Tigers guy. Hey, hello, wake up. I think Tarik Skubal should be the Cy Young winner. But you look at his body of work in comparison to everybody else and the dominance that he's shown night in and night out. And when he has the opportunity to at least get some run support, you just feel like the Tigers are going to win that game. And in a way, it kind of puts some a false security on your shoulders, because it's not going to be that easy in the postseason. I know that's pointing out the obvious, But a night like tonight really was a kick the feet up, watch Skubal do his thing. I mean, heck, he gave up 2 hits. You had the classic Bob Wojnarowski tweet where, am I the only one to notice Tigers pitcher Tarik Skubal has retired, and he puts the best verbiage and most creative, clever ways into the tweet that you'll ever see to not, quote unquote, jinx it. And I know, unfortunately, the White Sox eventually got a hit there. But, man, you talk about a fun game to just admire how good Tarik Skubal is, and that's tonight. And you also had Calvin Johnson in the booth. I mean, as a Lions fan, that was pretty neat to hear Dan Dickerson and Andy Dirks interview Calvin Johnson, because Jason Benetti, not with the team on the TV broadcast, he misses most Saturdays in the fall, so he can do his Fox broadcasting gig, and he misses a lot of games. And I saw one comment, I was not here on Friday night, but just like Jason Benetti, I'm not at every single Tigers game. But let's get into some comments here, because I love mixing it up here. Rufus T. Cat says all you have to do is play Scoob every game. It's that simple. Yeah, perfect. Exactly. That's all you have to do. Demetrius McNeil says that's how you bounce back after last night's opening game loss. Series win on the line tomorrow before the Lions game. Did I mention that my last Tigers game is in 12 days against the Guardians? There you go, Demetrius. Love it. Got to bring home a victory. That's right. Rubber match against the White Sox, who I know we, and rightfully so, kind of make the White Sox the butt of our jokes more often than not, and they deserve that, but they have been playing some better baseball. Amber is up next. She says, great game, great win. Glad to see Meadows back playing yesterday's game. Yeah, he hit a bomb and everything. There you go. Tim Palmer says, go Scoob. Oh, no, he says, God Scoob taxes. There you go. That's my bad, Tim. I butchered that, but you're exactly right. Yeah, what's the saying? Life, death, taxes, and Tarik Skubal. That's what you can count on in life. Braylon Dennis with the Gley bomb. You got to love that. It was, right? I mean, into the left field bullpen off the bat with the 2 runners on. I thought, okay, here we go. I think that's going to be gone. And sure enough, it was. So good to see there. And you love to see that from Gleyber Torres. I believe for Gleyber, I got to make sure I'm right here, but I believe that's his, let me make sure, it's his 15th home run. Okay. I thought it was a few more than that, but hey, 15 home runs. What a pickup Gleyber Torres has been. All right, Detroit Lions is up next. Glad to see you today. Missed you yesterday. Go Tigers. Yeah, I apologize. Had a little personal matter. Wasn't able to be on the show yesterday, but just like Jason Benetti, I'm going to miss a game here and there. All right, Jolt Music is up next. Finally, a nice complete game. Feels good. Hopefully something to build on. Need to build consistency ahead of the postseason. Indeed. And that's the hard part with the consistency, because so much is predicated around the pitching staff. It's hard to be consistent without a pitching staff that is exactly that, consistent. And the Alex Cobb news, which I'll go next to, if you missed it, he put out a long statement. Basically, the hip injury, the arthritis in his hip, is just not going to allow him to pitch in the bigs anymore. And I think this is nothing against Alex Cobb. And he explained it in his statement that when the Tigers made the $15 million deal with Alex Cobb, by all indications, he was going to be able to pitch. And it's unfortunate that he's not. However, Scott Harris and that entire organization needs to be held accountable that they sunk $15 million into a starting pitcher that's not going to throw an inning at the big league level, and neglected the rest of the pitching staff, and neglected making meaningful moves aside from Finnegan at the trade deadline. And when you don't bolster up a pitching staff with enough depth, these types of injuries can sink the ship. And I'm not going to speak that into existence now and say, yeah, these injuries are going to sink the ship, but man, you don't feel good about this Tigers pitching staff heading into the final month of the season and into the postseason. So I think we all kind of saw the writing on the wall with Alex Cobb, and it just kind of, you get some clarity and some closure, I guess, with him not being able to pitch this season and probably ever in a Tigers uniform. So I'll go ahead and say major bummer. But at the same time, I don't think anyone's surprised. Like I said, the writing was on the wall there. But let's take a quick timeout. We'll come back with our turning point and our player of the game. That's next on Live Locked On Tigers Postcast. This episode of the Locked On Tigers postcast is brought to you by our good friends at Zippix. That's right, Zippix. Listen up, my friends. It is brought to you by Zippix Toothpicks. Whether you're looking for nicotine satisfaction or an energy boost, Zippix has you covered with their nicotine and caffeine-infused toothpicks. For nicotine users, Zippix provides a discreet way to satisfy cravings and the hand-to-mouth habit without vaping or smoking. Zippix can be a helpful tool as you work to reduce your dependence on vaping. It's available in 6 great flavors with 2 milligrams and 3 milligrams of nicotine options. And if you need energy without the crash, their caffeine toothpicks are a game changer. I like using Zippix because of the taste as well as the energy booster. I'm a big coffee guy, and this is a nice little alternative. So I'm not chugging, 10 different cups of coffee a day. And that's why I like to use the toothpicks even before a big show or something to keep me focused and alert and that extra jolt of energy. So go to zippixtoothpicks.com, use code LOCKEDON for 10% off your first order. You must be 21 or older to order. Warning, there's nicotine and it is an addictive chemical. That's zippixtoothpicks.com, promo code LOCKEDON. Zip more, smoke less with Zippix Toothpicks. Today's episode is also brought to you by our good friends at 5 Hour Energy. It's time to fuel up and turn it up with 5 Hour Energy Transfusion. This grape, ginger, and lime flavor shot brings the iconic taste of a golf course favorite to a non-alcoholic boost. Perfect for sinking birdies or making great memories with friends. It's a hole-in-one for your energy game. Whether you're out on the course or just need a little extra push to power through your day, 5 Hour Energy Transfusion delivers the clubhouse flavor you love without ever leaving the green. The best place to be is on the golf course with your friends. Wildest times you could ever imagine. They love to play bingo, bango, bongo, skins, all the good stuff. Lone wolf, whatever it is, fun games on the golf course. And that's what it's all about. Golf is all about good times with good people and good flavors. The grape, ginger, lime flavor of 5 Hour Energy Transfusion gives you the best parts of your clubhouse go-to right there without leaving the course or chasing down the bev cart. Now you can amp up the fun even more. Just buy, snap, and enter for a chance to win a dream golf trip for 2 to any golf tournament in the USA. Tee up that trip. Visit 5hewin.com. That's 5hewin.com for rules and entry. No purchase necessary. Excludes. The Masters tournament ends October 31st, 2025. Glad to have you back on a live Locked On Tigers postcast. Jake Riepma with you here, and appreciate everybody tuning in after a 6-0 win over the Chicago White Sox. Rubber match tomorrow. Looking forward to that one. Of course, we'll have our Locked On Tigers postcast immediately following the conclusion of that game. We'll have a Locked On Lions postcast as well. And tomorrow, Charlie Morton goes for the Tigers. Davis Martin for the White Sox in a rubber match. Let's get into our biggest turning point.
Time to reveal where the game was won or lost. It's the turning point.
This bit never gets old, so I'll always say it. The turning point was when Tarik Skubal took the mound. I crack myself up. But it really was. You put 6 runs up behind Tarik Skubal. He goes 7 scoreless. That's your game. And listen, I know you guys, we all are baseball fans, and sometimes it can be that simple. And you talk about the Tigers getting a lead early, jumping on the opposition with the Jahmai Jones home run, and just staying on the gas in a steadily consistent way and cruising to victory. And those are the types of games you love to see. And after an unfortunate loss yesterday, it was much needed. How about our player of the game?
This is the Locked On Player of the Game.
Listen, Gleyber Torres deserves a shout out for a 3-run homer. Certainly give that as an honorable mention, but Tarik Skubal is your unquestioned player of the game tonight. Was so good. 7 scoreless, another feather in the cap for the Cy Young, his 13th win of the season. 6 strikeouts, just the 1 walks, 90 pitches. So just smooth, clean, and consistent through 7 innings. And oh, by the way, for Tarik Skubal, he gets 10 swinging strikes and first pitch strikes, 16 out of 23 batters, attacking the zone, and just an excellent performance. Dingler calls a good game behind the dish, and you talk about, again, just a solid effort and what this team is capable when they have Tarik Skubal on the bump. It was, in fact, what we witnessed tonight. So that being said, I agree with Braylon Dennis here. Another Scoob masterclass. And the second part of that comment, just mail Scoob the Cy Young trophy already. Jason Walter says classic Scoob, and I would agree with that. I want to make sure I have this correct because Skubal, listen, it's a stat-driven league. We all know that. So if you talk about the best ERA in all of baseball is Paul Skeens, followed by Skubal. So Skubal with the best ERA in the American League. Skeens at 1.98, Skubal at 2.10. Skubal's thrown 7 more innings than Skeens. Whip, which we all love. The best whip is Tarik Skubal at 0.86. So you love that. And how about let's go with pick a category, any category. How about strikeouts? It's Tarik Skubal with the most at 222. So again, this is the guy that he's not going to catch Freddie Peralta, I don't think, with 16 wins. Carlos Rodon with 16 wins with the Yankees as well. So I don't think he'll have that triple crown category with the wins, but man, he's dominating some of the stats a pitcher can control. He's absolutely dominating. So give Scoob the trophy, and let's continue this Tigers team, and hopefully the pitching staff will be all right. I, for one, am very worried. I want that in the record, which I've been vocal about all season. And it's not me taking some kind of victory lap, because everybody, if you know me, you know that's not what I want. I want the Tigers to win a World Series, and it's always been that, and it always will be that. But that's going to do it for me tonight for Locked On Tigers. We'll have a Locked On Wolverines over on Locked On Wolverines. So we'll have a post-game show after the big Michigan-Oklahoma game if you would like to join on that. And as I mentioned, Locked On Lions post-game show tomorrow after their opener in Green Bay against the Packers. So lots going on in the wonderful, beautiful, amazing city of Detroit and the great state of Michigan, and Locked On is your destination for all the coverage. So thanks so much for tuning in. Appreciate your comments, appreciate your participation and engagement. And if you want to join us later on tonight, I'll be around. Or if you want to just keep it with the Tigers, I certainly understand as well. I'll be around tomorrow for Locked On Tigers Postcast. Have a wonderful night, and make sure you like today's video and subscribe. See you next time.